Hello. I'd like to do another political video. I've been trying to figure out how to do this because I don't want to mention any names, and I guess when I tell this story you will either have to believe it or not believe it. It happened in 81 or 82. When I sat down to do this video, I didn't go check my papers to find out if it was 81 or 82. But that's close enough. And if anybody out there has access to some of the major networks' video footage back during that time in Washington, D.C., you probably see me. And if you've watched my videos enough, you would recognize me even though I have a full beard. I've got a short clip on YouTube of my wife and I that was taken at the beach during that time. So if you have access to any of that footage, you can go look at that video. It's only like 5 or 6 seconds long, and determine that it's me that you're seeing. But anyway, I was in Washington, D.C. at a special function for a week. It was conducted at the Hilton Hotel there in Washington, D.C. And one half of all of the movers and shakers in politics in Washington was at that week-long meeting. And one of the people with me after that, well, at that time they were running for a local office, and that person became one of the longest sitting mayors of a city. And he and I had been friends in radio for years. And we had some really fun times, being a couple of hayseeds out of the sticks. All of those Harvard and Yale types up there kind of thought we were an oddity, which we were. But there's one, and I'd like, if somebody can find it, I'd like to see it. There's one piece of footage. I don't know if CNN, I don't know, one of the, it may have been CBS. But we were sitting in this at this table. It was kind of a round table, eating in the Hilton Hotel in Washington, D.C. And we were sitting with some of the movers and shakers. Oh, I know I'm probably going too far with this video. I'd like to mention names, but I can't. I'd just be dropping names. You're just going to take my word for what I'm saying. And someone out there may uncover some of that footage. And if you can find it, post it on YouTube and send me a response. But one quick story. There's one story I'd like to tell you, but I just can't. I shouldn't even do the video unless I was going to tell you the whole story. But I'll tell you this one. We were at this one building in Washington, D.C., and it was a major union hall. And one of the guys from CBS was there, and he was walking around with his cameraman, but the cameraman didn't have his lights on, his overhead light with his camera. But I could see that this reporter was talking to people, and the cameraman, he really wasn't capturing it for broadcast, but I know that he had his camera on and he was taping what was going on. So they had this table set up, had donuts and coffee. And I saw this reporter look toward that table, and I knew he was going to go get him a cup of coffee and a donut. And of course, I was dressed, I don't know, the suit I had on, it must have been, at that time, must have been a $250 suit. But anyway, I saw him eye that table, and I kind of maneuvered and got in line just as he got behind me. So I got my coffee and my donuts, and as soon as I turned around, I looked him right in the eye, and I called him, I'm looking outside, got some people working around the house. I turned around and I looked him in the eye and called him by his name like I had known him for forever. I could see the wheels turning in his brain like, now who in the world is this? So I told him what I was there doing and who I was with, and he said, I said, we're not doing any interviews, you know, we're just kind of getting our stories together, something like that. And then that's when I started dropping names. I said, well, this person is running against so-and-so. And he looked at me and he said, where is this guy? I said, over there. Well, that night on the CBS News, when they had a story about that gathering at that building, and they did a shot of the participants, the guy that was my friend that became a mayor and the other guy were on the CBS Evening News. And there was one other, they had this thing they called Smile, You're on Candid Camera. And so I didn't want to be a part of it. I was just there to observe. But they said, okay, you come up here. We want you to, we're going to interview like we're interviewing you, you know, and see how you do. And I knew I wasn't going to do worth a dime. So the interviewer started asking me questions, and he asked me what I thought about an individual. And you know how you are when you're nervous. The name was correct, but I was associating the name with someone else, and I sure wasn't going to say anything. I don't know, I stuttered through it. But anyway, a little while after that, they had another meeting, and I was sitting by this lady who was, I think she was a press secretary or a campaign manager for one of the top people in Washington. And while we were sitting there, and at the time, I mean, by being in the media, I knew the best way to handle the news media when they came in. If they came in with their cameras, and you look, if you were a nobody like me, and you were trying to act like you were going to that you wanted to be on camera, they'd ignore you. So what I did is ignored them, and by ignoring them, they came walking down the aisle, and the cameraman got down on the floor, turned his lights on, and I still ignored him. And someone saw me later and said, hey, I saw you on CNN. But the lady I was sitting by, after the guy turned his light off the camera, she punched me in the ribs and she said, smile, you're on candid camera. So there's one person in New York that has put comments on my video that's got a lot of savvy. And they may have access to some of that news footage. But if you have, because I didn't even see it when it was broadcast, because we were in Washington, but when I came back home, you know, people told me that they had seen me on the news. But I was wearing a pinstripe suit, had a full beard, and smoking a pipe. So if you see some hillbilly playing the role. That's me. Well, I know this video has been kind of cryptic, but I didn't drop any names, and I did not want to drop any names. And you may find that amusing, and then you may find it completely boring. But anyway, if somebody comes up with that footage, either I'll place it on YouTube or they can place it on YouTube and respond. Well, thank you very much. We'll see you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.